Don't forget to do these things on your next camping trip. Hey guys, it's MJ from Endless RVing, the channel that brings you the best in RV DIYs, product reviews, RV tours, and so much more. If you're new to the channel, we invite you to subscribe below and click that notification bell. And if you're back for another video, we thank you for joining us.
So in this video, we are going to talk about 5 important things that RVers forget to do. Now, for you basement dwellers, this is not the only 5 things you should be doing, but these are 5 things that we picked out because we found that we forgot to do it and it wound up biting us in the you know what.
And make sure to stay to the end, guys, for a really important bonus tip.
Number 1, when you get to a campground, fill your tank till it's full, your fresh water tank. Now, normally if we go on a shorter trip, we really don't fill the tank, especially if it's something like within an hour, simply because water weighs a lot, about 8 pounds, I believe 8 pounds around there a gallon. If we go on a longer trip and we know we're going to be making multiple stops, we'll fill with water. Why I'm saying to do this is because we were recently on a trip, we had full hookups, we're within an hour of our home, we didn't fill up, right? Get to the campground, we hook up, everything's all good, we got water until day number 2, when all of a sudden the water went off and we had no water. And I told MJ, this is one of the only times that we have not filled our tank, and sure enough, we're screwed right now because we had no water. And it lasted like that for over a day. What we wound up doing was kind of like scavenging water. I shouldn't say there was no water. The pressure was so low that it wouldn't flow, the water wouldn't go through the system, right? Like there was just no water pressure. So what we did was we turned on the water source, we were filling pots, and then we would siphon that into our fresh water tank, and then we were using water off the pumps, right? But it took us probably 20 minutes to do that, whereas if we just had a full fresh water tank, we would have had no problem. So number 1, make sure your tanks are filled when you get to the campground.
Number 2 is to plan your trip accordingly and make sure you're going to arrive at your campground when it's still light out. Setting up in the dark, yes, possible, not fun. Things can happen. You can break things, you can bang your head, you cannot see what you're supposed to be hooking up. We made a big mistake last year on our trip to Savannah. We got there at like 10:30 at night. We didn't plan on going that long, but we did. And Izzy broke the sewer door off, okay? We were in complete darkness pretty much, minus a little headlamp. We're gonna link that video right up here. So things can happen. You have to make sure that you're planning to get there so you can see everything that you're doing to set up.
Okay, number 3 is going to make sure you have enough distance for several things, right? Overhead clearance, so you don't take your roof off. You also want to have enough distance, if you have slides, if your RV is equipped with that, there's enough room for the slides to open without breaking anything. Most important is that you want to make sure when you set up, right, when you're pulling in, whether it's a towable or a motorhome, before you put the levelers down and you go through all that work, make sure you have enough distance from your electrical hookup, from your sewer hookup, and your water if you have that, right? Because we know this because when we used to have a towable, it's happened a couple of times, especially when we're very new. We took the trailer off, we leveled it out, all good. Damn, our cord is not long enough. Now guess what? Now we're another half hour undoing everything, right? Really frustrating. Doesn't happen anymore because the first thing we do when MJ's out or I'm out, we set up that our hookups are within proximity, that we know there's enough room to hook up and that there's enough room for those slides to open, all right? So number 3, check your surroundings before you set up shop.
All right, so number 4, guys, is somewhat twofold. So number 1 part of it is make sure you have an extra set of keys for your RV and your tow vehicle. Hide those somewhere. There's things that you can get to Velcro them, attach them somewhere on your RV, so if you do get locked out, you're not stuck. This just happened to us on a trip, and this is the second time Izzy locked us out. Is that right, huh?
Actually the first.
Oh.
This the first time we had left the keys at the pool, so we technically weren't locked out.
So this time, all right, so we got locked out, and luckily we have roadside assistance, which is the second part of this. If you don't have roadside assistance, highly recommended. We use CoachNet, $169 a year, worth every penny. We just used it, pretty much that whole fee. We had a locksmith come out, He was able to open the door for us, problem solved. This will never happen again. Believe you me, we're gonna make sure that we have this extra set of keys. But again, we screwed up and we learned from it. So we wanna pass this on to you. Extra set of keys, roadside assistance.
One other thing, guys, and we almost always do this, but we didn't do it this time. When we leave the RV, we both do a visual and physical check if somebody has the keys, right? So
yes, you say, show me the keys.
Show me the key. What happened was,
show me the money.
She was in the car. I had to run inside to get my wallet. So I technically had the key when she asked, but then when I went back inside, I had put the key on the seat, slammed the door, and I was like, oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's the key on the seat, right? And I couldn't break in because I had locked all the windows because we were leaving. But that's another step you can take, all right? So number 4, do something with some extra keys. All right, number 5 is gonna be regarding fuel, okay? We make it a point that before we pull into a campground or wherever we're gonna set camp for the night, that we top off our fuel tank. We do this for several reasons, okay? We've had numerous occasions now that the power has gone out at campgrounds. Now, that's not a big deal if it's 50 degrees out, but if it's 95 or it's like 98 like it was in Savannah or in Virginia, or we're just away this past couple of weeks, that is a real problem, right? Especially if you are in an open space and the air conditioning is not going. So our motorhome is equipped with a generator. We are not afraid to use it. We are advocates of using your generator. We use it whenever we can, right? They're made to work. Here's the good thing. 80-gallon tank we have. Our generator at half load uses about 0.6 gallons per hour. So you do the math, you can run that unit, our motorhome, for a very long time just off the tank. Here's the downside. As a safety mechanism, once you hit a quarter tank of fuel in your motorhome gas tank, the generator will not work anymore. So if you pull into a campground with half a tank, or better yet, a quarter of a tank, and now you don't have electricity, and say that electricity is not on for a couple days, well, you just screwed yourself, right? So take the time, top off fuel all the time. We even do it when we're driving. Once we get below 3/4, we pull in, we top off. You never know when you're gonna hit traffic. You never know when you're gonna get stuck. Top off your fuel whenever you have a chance.
And for the bonus tip, keep your tanks closed, gray and black. Sewer flies seem to love us.
They're real. The struggle's real with sewer flies.
And we learned this on one trip where all of a sudden we started, it was like the Hitchcock movie, The Birds. The RV just filled with these things and they were everywhere. And we took out our tennis rackets, which are one of our favorite RV products, which we will link up here. But oh my God, it was like an all-out assault, and we went to war. Thousands of them.
You can't outnumber them. No. And then the next morning, there's just carcass everywhere.
It's carnage.
It's carnage.
Yeah. So we found that, and talking to other people and things. I mean, we learned this a while ago, but it's, I see on Facebook a lot of people are saying, should I leave my tanks open? Our opinion, that we're not experts, keep them closed. Don't even invite those flies to dinner.
What we're thinking about doing is actually, they have those electronic valves that can open and close your gray tank electronically. Well, it's kind of a setup I've been thinking about to allow us to do that remotely. Yeah. Because it really sucks, right? If you want to take a shower, then you want to open that gray tank, especially if you have a tankless water heater. You want to take a long shower, you want that. But right now, we'll take a shower for 5 minutes or so, and then, just close it, because the sewer flies, they really suck. They're really annoying.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely of course you should keep the black closed, but keep the gray closed whenever you're not using it.
So guys, these are 5 very important things, plus the bonus, that people may not think about when they're getting to a campground. We didn't for a while, and then we, screwed up and we learned.
Yeah, there's a lot of new RVers out there. We've done videos on that. We'd rather you learn from our mistakes, or, sometimes you learn more when you go through the pain, right? So take your choice. To the left of us, we're going to put our RV DIY Essential playlist, as well as our RV Essential upgrades. And for myself and MJ, we thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the road.